Hello and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Melissa Howell and you are here for 3 Secrets to Permanent Home Organization Success. I'm so excited to talk to you today about all the things that I've discovered that are going to make a huge difference in your home organizing efforts. Now, the first thing that I would love for you to do is to just hop over into the chat, tell me your name and where you're from. And this also helps me to know that you can hear me and you can see me and that we're not having technical difficulties. Now, when you do go over into the chat, the first thing that you're going to want to do actually is look at the bottom and it says to, and you need to click on the little drop down menu there and click all panelists and attendees. That way we can all see each other's comments. Otherwise, the default is just to let me see your comments, but I would really love for us to be able to interact with each other here today. So make sure that you do choose all panelists and attendees. Also in the chat, as we are going along, please feel free to just ask any questions that you have. Understand that I am not going to be answering those questions during the webinar, but we will be having a Q&A session at the end. My husband is monitoring the chat. If he can answer your questions right away, he will. If not, he's going to save those questions for me so I can answer them for you at the end of the webinar. Hi, Kathy from Rochester. Welcome. Hello, Cindy. I saw your email today. I remember you. I remember you too, Kathy. Awesome. Okay, so one other thing. Oh, if we do happen to lose sound or visual, a lot of times that has to do with your internet connection. Hopefully we won't have technical difficulties today, but if that does happen to you, the best thing to do would be to just close out of this webinar, go back into your email and click on the link again to join. And that should hopefully reset things for you so that you're able to get in. All right, so, and then one more thing. I just want to encourage you, if you are typically a lurker on webinars, and by lurker, I mean somebody who just watches but never joins in the chat and comments, I want to encourage you to bust out of that today and to join with us and participate. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. I'm going to want a lot of participation from you. And so I understand because I'm a lurker on webinars a lot. I'm an introvert. And so I like to just sit back and not say anything, but we're all friends here. And I would really like for us to be able to converse with each other and get to know one another. So please don't be a lurker. Hop into the chat. Hello from Jan, welcome, and Vicky and Chris. Awesome to have you guys here. All right, once again, if you are just logging in, my name is Melissa Howell. I am the creator of the Home Organization Made Easy program, and you are here for the webinar, 3 Secrets to Permanent Home Organization Success. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with our material for today. I am gonna turn off my video here and switch over to my presentation. So hold on just a second while I do that. And when I switch over, you should be seeing a picture of me in front of some purple flowers with the title of this webinar. So can you guys see that? Will you just let me know in the comments if that is what you're seeing here? Just give me a yes or a thumbs up or raise your hand and I will get going. All right, awesome. Okay, so what I want to encourage you to do today is while we're on this webinar, oh, we've gone back, hold on, here we go. So I'm gonna be dedicating all of my energy and my attention to you guys today. So I'd really love it if you did the same. If you closed out of all of your internet tabs, if you put your phone on mute and set it aside, close the door, and if you take notes, all right? Now, let us talk about the missing key to your successful home organization. This is the one thing that no other home organizing guru is talking about, but it is essential to creating the home of your dreams. Now, before we go on, I just want to give you a little disclaimer. There are no magic cleaning fairies. So by watching this webinar, it will not magically make your house clean itself. You might wish for magic cleaning fairies because maybe you don't consider yourself a clean person. And I have to tell you that when I was growing up, we did not live in a fancy home. And I was not a clean person. My room was a disaster and it drove my dad absolutely nuts. Can you guys relate to this? maybe you have kids who have rooms like this, or maybe you were the kid with a room like this. Just let me know in the chat if you can relate to this at all. But my point here is I started out on the lowest rung of the cleanliness ladder. But I've climbed that ladder and learned a ton, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. Does that sound good? All right, so here is what you will learn today. What Marie Kondo and no other organizing guru is telling you, because they just don't know, why you always fall into the home organizing valley of despair and the only way to get out, and why not balancing your time is actually a good thing and will help you declutter and organize your home more quickly than you ever thought possible. All right, let me ask you, why are you here today? So the obvious answer is, well, I want to learn how to declutter and organize my home, right? But why? Tell me in the chat. If you keep asking yourself why and get down to the bottom line, I think you'll find that the reason you want to declutter and organize your home is because you want to be happy with yourself and you want to be happy with others. And if you have a cluttered home, it's stopping you from living the life you want to live and having the relationships you want. Does that sound right? Because everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way. Your home is currently causing you to feel a certain way and you want to change that, right? So yes, I'm seeing a lot of people feeling overwhelmed. They want to feel in control. They're feeling embarrassed. That is all feelings that you want to change. Those are feelings that are being caused by your home. And so let's learn how to change those feelings. Because you have to change your environment to serve your purpose. I firmly believe this. A flower can't grow if it's planted in a stack of papers, and neither can you, my friends. So today I'm going to talk to you about 4 things you can do to start changing your environment so you can serve your highest purpose in life. Are you guys ready? You good? All right, before we get started, I'm just going to give you a really quick rundown on who I am. Most of you, this is your first time meeting me. And so, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Melissa Howell, and I have a website called Beautiful Life and Home, where I teach people about home organization, cooking, and style and fashion. And I have been lucky enough to have my organizing advice featured on BuzzFeed. And I was also super lucky to get to interview Corey Chalmers, who is the host from the TV show Hoarders, if you guys have ever seen that show. I was able to really pick his brain and get some really unique insights from a true organizing expert. And I'm a regular, normal person, just like you. I am married to a wonderful, handsome man, and I have 3 daughters. And I don't know what your dreams were when you were little. But when I grew up, I wanted to be a good mom. And I have to tell you that I really struggled with years for this because I didn't think I was. I think every mom has mom guilt, right? Well, I discovered that my environment had a lot to do with how I felt about myself and how I treated my family. So I'm really excited to share with you today the key things that I've learned that have helped me feel better about myself and helped my family relationships improve. And I've compiled everything I've learned in all my experience into my Home Organization Made Easy program, which I will tell you about at the end. So let's get back to what it is that no other organizing guru knows. It's the key, the one key that nobody is talking about. And you might be thinking, well, if nobody else knows about it, how do you know about it, right? So I want to tell you how I figured this out and why it's so important. This all starts with a story. We moved and it was terrible. So raise your hand if you have ever moved, and raise your hand if you did not enjoy moving. Because it's, yes, lots of raised hands. It's so stressful with all the packing and the loading and unloading and the things breaking and just the sheer amount of work involved, right? Well, when we moved, we filled up a 40-foot semi-truck with all of our stuff. And when I say we filled it up, I mean that literally. There was not an inch to spare in there. And I was absolutely floored that we did this. Like, where in the heck did all of this stuff come from? Had we really wasted this much money and collected this much junk? And now we had a few weeks to wait until our new home was finished. So the semi truck was parked somewhere waiting until we were ready to move in. And I honestly thought to myself that if the truck were to catch on fire and we'd lost everything, I wouldn't care. At least we wouldn't have to carry it all into our new home. At that point, I knew I had a problem. Can any of you guys relate to this? Let me know in the chat if you've ever moved and just been shocked at the stuff you had. I see here that Christine talks about, yes, moving and taking a load of catalogs. I did the same thing. It's like, why did we do that? It's crazy, right? Well, a short time after we moved, a friend introduced me to this book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. So I got this book for myself and I became completely obsessed with organizing. I read the book 3 times and practically memorized it. And then I read every other organizing book I could get my hands on. And I also read a ton of articles online, and I learned a ton of things, and I was able to declutter and organize my whole house and keep it that way. And I loved the process, but what I loved even more were the long-lasting results. And I got so excited that I really wanted to share what I was learning with other people and help them declutter and organize their homes too, because it seriously affected every area of my life. But as I was researching home organization techniques, I discovered there was a lot of advice that was conflicting, complicated, and just downright stupid. I found decision-making flowcharts like you see here with 14 steps before you could ever decide whether or not to keep a t-shirt. And other ridiculous advice. I seriously found this list of like 100 ways to declutter right now, and one of the items on that list was always wear matching lingerie. I was like, what in the heck? And I've heard from people who told me that they've bought other online organizing courses, but they were just too complicated, like this flowchart. So I knew if I was going to be able to help other people, I had to take the best of everything I'd learned and throw out all of that nonsense. So that's exactly what I did, and I created my Home Organization Made Easy program. And I was super excited to get it out there and help so many people, but there was one major problem. And it came in an adorable Japanese package, Marie Kondo. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Marie Kondo and I use her KonMari method. I actually lived in Japan, so I just kind of love everything Japanese, and I have a real affinity for her, and I understand some of the really Japanesey things she says in her books that don't translate as well to an American audience, but I totally get that. But the thing is, she's taken the world by storm. She has books and a TV show. And I'm like, well, what do I have that she doesn't? I'm not famous. I haven't written any books. Why would people want to let me help them? Have any of you guys ever had some of those same thoughts like, well, who's going to listen to me? What makes me so special? So I was filled with doubt and I almost gave up because how could I compete with her, right? And so then I thought, well, if I'm going to have any chance at all, I need to really study and find out all about her and her methods. So I watched all of her show on Netflix and I've read all of her books multiple times, and I came to realize that there is something key that I have that she doesn't and that no other famous organizing person has. And before I tell you, let me ask you guys, how many of you have kids? Or if you don't have kids, how many of you have parents? So all of you should be saying yes or raising your hands right now. All right, so how many of you would agree that what works for one kid doesn't work for another? Or what worked on one parent didn't work on another? Like one parent you could convince to let you do anything, and if you tried the same thing with the other parent, it totally didn't work, right? Well, I have 3 daughters and they are all so different. You can see in the pictures that none of them look like each other, and their personalities are as different as their looks. And I remember when they were younger, the 2 oldest would come home from elementary school and we had a rule that you had to get your homework done before you could go play. So as soon as they got home, they sat down at the kitchen desk, got out their homework, I gave them a snack, and they'd start working on their homework. Well, my middle daughter, she would get done in about 10 minutes and be up and gone. But my oldest daughter would be sitting there for an hour. And honestly, I don't know what the heck she was doing or why in the world it took her so long, but she just could not focus and could not sit still and could not get her homework done. And every single day at 5 o'clock, we had what I began to affectionately call the 5 o'clock freak out. because she would lose it. She would bawl, she would freak out, and this happened every single day. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Don't you see that your sister sat here, did her homework, and is gone? Why can't you just do that? But I didn't understand her thought processes or the right strategies to motivate her. Can you guys relate to this? Do you understand how this happens? Well, so why do we think that a one-size-fits-all organizing program will work for us? So just like what worked for one daughter with her homework didn't work for the other daughter, what works for one person as they're decluttering and organizing their home might not work for another. And the problem is that every other organizing program is a one-size-fits-all program. But we all intuitively know that this can't work. What works for Marie Kondo or Joshua Becker or the lady who wrote The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning might not work for us, right? So I realized that what I needed to do was find a way to tailor my program to every type of person so that no matter what your natural strengths and weaknesses are, you can still be successful. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love psychology and studying personality and learning how different types of people think and interact with the world. And I have studied this stuff for over 20 years and feel like understanding people is key to almost any endeavor. How many of you guys have done the Myers-Briggs assessment? Like, do you know your Myers-Briggs type, INFJ or ENFP or whatever that is? If you do, just go ahead and pop it in the chat. Or have you taken the Strengths Finder? This is a really popular one if you work. Or do you know which color you are? That was a really popular one probably about 20 years ago. The blue, red, white, and yellow colors. If you know that, you can tell me. Or do you know your love language? So my point is that there are so many different ways to assess personalities and your nature. And when I was younger, all this stuff was just really fun to talk about. But as I got older and got married and had kids, I really got into this stuff because I wanted to figure out how I could have better relationships with my family. Like, why did one child work so differently from the other? How could I support them and work with their strengths rather than just squash them? So I learned a ton that helped me, not just with my kids, but with my husband and with everybody I came in contact, really. And then, as I was thinking about how to help people declutter and organize their homes, I had my epiphany. What if I combine everything I know about personality and energy types with everything I know about organizing? What if I could tap into people's unique natural talents and abilities and help them declutter and organize? And what if, instead of a one-size-fits-all program, I developed a program with 4 different sets of strategies, each tailored to a specific type of organizing personality? So that is exactly what I did. I created my Home Organization Made Easy program, and I developed different strategies and approaches for each of my organizing types. And I call you my home girls. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the acronym for Home Organization Made Easy is HOME. So that's why I came up with the idea of home girls. Now, each homegirl has a fun name that exemplifies their approach to organizing. So we're going to have a little fun right now and try to figure out which type of homegirl you are. Now, in my program, I have a thorough questionnaire with 30 questions to help you figure this out. And we obviously don't have time for that here. So I'm just going to present a quick scenario so that you can get a feel. And if you relate to anything I'm saying, type yes or that's so me in the chat. And if you're not sure, that's totally fine too. All right, can you relate to this? You get excited to start organizing, but you quickly lose interest in one task and start another one thinking it will be more fun. This repeats until you have a whole bunch of unfinished projects all over the house. So if this describes you, you might be a superstar. Now, this is the girl who is enthusiastic, optimistic, and willing to try anything. So if you're a superstar, then any work you do in your home needs to be fun for you. So one idea is to make your decluttering tasks a surprise every day, because you're actually excited by not knowing the plan in advance and think it's fun to discover what you're going to do right on the spot. Okay, I'm seeing some people saying absolutely and totally me in the chat. All right, you superstars. Next, see if this one applies to you. Do you have piles all over your house, but you know what's in each of the piles? Do you have trouble deciding where to start organizing and want to carefully think about all of your options before starting? Do you get stuck asking questions? If this sounds like you, then you are most likely a dreamer. And unlike the superstar who thrives on novelty and variety, you need to have an extremely detailed plan. You've got to have everything mapped out in great detail before you can get started. Okay, I'm seeing some people who are relating to both of those. Yeah, awesome. Okay, this is great because I have stuff that's going to totally help you out later on. So hold on till we get to that. All right, next, what about this? Do you have confidence in your own abilities? Are you one of those people who nothing is going to get in your way? You jump in head first, go fast and hard, but burn out before you can finish. Now, if this sounds like you, then you are most likely a heroine. So this is the no holds barred, no excuses, get things done kind of girl. So heroines are the ones who don't have a plan. They just jump in and take action, trusting that they'll be able to figure it out as they go along. So if this is you, organizing has to be all about the challenge. There's got to be an element of competition, like doing things better and faster in order for you to be motivated to finish. And now lastly, what about this? Are you a perfectionist? Do you find a plan and stick to it even if it isn't working for you because you want to follow the rules? Do you have a hard time saying it's good enough and moving on? If that is you, then you are most likely a model. And this is a girl who wants to have a plan and play by the rules. So for you, it's going to be really important that you don't get caught up in perfectionism because that can really slow you down. So you've got to have a system of doing tasks to the level of 90% perfection and then coming back later to make little tweaks to get things to your high standards. So now that we've gone through just really briefly, and I know that might not be enough for you to tell for sure, but if you had to guess, which one of these do you think you are? So just type in the chat which one you think might be you. Even if you're waffling kind of between two, just go with your first gut here. So for a quick reminder, the superstars are all about fun and variety. The models are all about perfection and efficiency. The heroines are all about action and results, and the dreamers are most concerned with planning and predictability. Okay, so I'm seeing some dreamers, superstars, model. Yes, awesome. So once again, in my program, I have a 30-question assessment, so you can figure it out for sure. All right, we've got a sampling of all the types here. Awesome. Well, so doesn't it make sense, you guys, that each organizing type needs a unique approach to decluttering and organizing their home? Like, that's just logical, right? So now you might be thinking, yes, I'm a homegirl heroine. Let's get started. I'm ready to go. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but there is something I need to warn you about. And it is the home organizing valley of despair. And I'm pretty sure you've already visited this location, and it's because of something called the emotional cycle of change. And it's something we all go through every time we're making a big change in our lives. So let me tell you how this goes. Right now, you're in the uninformed optimism stage. You're feeling excited and energized because you've just found out about your homegirl type and you're envisioning all the benefits of organizing your home with your own awesome strategies, but you're not counting the costs. You're like, okay, I'm an organizing superstar and I'm really excited to learn all about my strengths so I can declutter and organize my whole home and have fun doing it. But pretty soon, you're going to enter the informed pessimism stage. And this is where reality sets in and you realize how much work it's going to take to change. And the benefits you're all excited about before don't seem as real or necessary, and you start looking for a way out. And maybe you start rationalizing that, you know, I don't really need to change that much. And unfortunately, things just get worse from here, and you enter the valley of despair. And this is where most people give up because it's where you feel all the pain of change and the benefits seem so far away and out of reach. But there is a quick and easy way to end this discomfort. You want to know what it is? Just quit and then lie to yourself that you didn't need to change in the first place. And every one of this has experienced this because I am willing to bet that every person on this webinar at some point in their life has tried to go on a diet or start an exercise program. So say yes in the chat or raise your hand if you've ever done this. And now, yep, raised hands. So at my house, we don't call them diets. We call them healthy eating plans. So yeah, raise your hand if you have started a healthy eating plan. I have gone from uninformed optimism to the valley of despair all in one morning. I have woken up with a plan to be all healthy and eat salads for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I walk into the kitchen and I see this. And I think to myself, you know, somebody has to eat these donuts or they're going to go stale. Like all my family, they've already left for work and school. If I don't do it, they're just going to have to go in the trash, and that's wasteful. You know what? It's fine. I'll just eat a salad for lunch and dinner and it'll be fine. Can you guys relate to this? So I eat the donut and I rationalize that it's not that bad. It can't be that many calories, and like it has eggs in it, and that's a breakfast food, right? So then at lunchtime, I open the fridge and I see the leftover lasagna, and I tell myself the same thing. Like, I don't want this to go to waste. It's no big deal. I can actually start this healthy eating plan tomorrow. But by tomorrow, I've already lied to myself so many times, and I've talked myself out of needing to do this healthy eating plan in the first place. I went down to the valley of despair and I bailed. So tell me in the chat if you can relate to this. Now, I would be willing to bet that the exact same thing has happened when it comes to home organization. You wake up all excited to clean and organize, then you look around, become overwhelmed and depressed, and give up before you even start. And then go eat a donut. How many of you guys have experienced that? Yep, raised hand, absolutely. So when people hit rock bottom in the valley of despair, they have two choices. They can either quit or they can rise. Do you want to know what the difference is between those who quit and those who rise to the levels of informed optimism and then success and fulfillment? Well, they have two things that those who give up do not have. And those two things are a clear, compelling vision and help from a mentor or expert. And I'm going to briefly talk about each one of these. So we've all heard of vision boards where we cut out pictures of our ideal home or create a Pinterest board with pretty houses. And yes, this is important, but it can also be distracting because honestly, it's way more fun to look at pretty pictures on Houzz or Pinterest than actually get to work. And also sometimes we make a mistake by just saying, you know what, okay, I'm closing my eyes, I'm envisioning a clean house, I pictured it being clean, that's my vision, I'm done. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but that is not enough to get you out of the valley of despair. You actually need to write down how having a clean and organized home will affect every area of your life. And so if you're taking notes, I want you to make sure to write this next part down. We don't have time to craft your vision statement on this webinar right now, but afterwards, when you do create your vision, I want you to ask yourself the following questions. What if I had a completely decluttered and organized home? How would that affect me physically, spiritually, mentally and emotionally, relationally? And by that, I mean, how would it affect your relationships, financially, professionally, and personally? Now, when you are answering these questions after the webinar, make sure that you answer them in as much detail as possible, because the more detailed you are, the more clear your vision will be and the more success you'll have. This is a psychological thing called future casting, and it's getting your brain to start accepting the future that you want to create. Now, the second thing that you need to get out of the valley of despair is help. Now, most of us make a mistake in where we get our help, and you've probably experienced this if you've ever had a workout buddy or a diet buddy. So let's just go back to the eating analogy and say you get a friend to agree to do this healthy eating plan with you. So you start out great for like 3 days, and then your friend confesses that she had a small piece of birthday cake for her son's birthday. And so now all of a sudden, what do you think? You think, well, if she had a small treat, then I can have one too. So then you eat a cookie and your sugar cravings kick in and it's all over. You guys know what I'm talking about here? So this is like the blind leading the blind. What you really need is somebody who has already been successful at the thing you want to do and who's not going to bail on you. So how many of you have seen Marie Kondo's show on Netflix? So if you haven't, it is a professional organizer going to people's homes and helping them to organize their homes. Do you know why the people on that show were successful? It's because they had a camera crew showing up to film, and they probably signed a contract that they were going to do the work. Now, Marie Kondo is not going to show up at your house with a camera crew, thank goodness, but that means that you need someone else to help you. So I want you to think right now of someone you personally know who has successfully decluttered and organized their home who could help you with yours. Now, if you can't think of anyone right now, that's okay, don't worry, because I'm going to help you out with this a little bit later on. Right now, let's move on to the issue of time. So when I talk to people about decluttering and organizing, the biggest reason I hear for not doing it is I don't have time. It's what we say for like everything. It's our response to 1,000 things a day, right? But do we even really know what that means? When we say I don't have time, what we really mean is this is not a priority for me right now. So I once heard a story of a woman who was super busy and she was always saying she didn't have time, and then one day her pipes broke and her basement flooded. And she spent 7 hours that day dealing with that problem, even though she didn't have time because her flooded basement became the priority. And I know all of you have experienced these things in your life, right? Where something totally unexpected comes and it just ruins all of your plans for the day, and you have to spend all of this time dealing with that issue, right? So the deal is, right now, your home might be flooded with clutter, and dealing with that flood should be your priority. And I want you to forget about the idea of balance. Just throw it out the window, because we have this idea, especially as women, that we are failing at life if we aren't balancing everything perfectly. But the truth is we can never be balanced 100% of the time, so you can just stop feeling guilty about that right now. Just take a deep breath and let go of that, because what I'm going to do here today is a little bit counterintuitive. I am going to challenge you to purposely unbalance your life for a short time and focus on what matters most. And when I say short time, what I mean is 12 weeks. Because the problem, when we've tried to declutter and organize in the past, or when we even just think about it, we think that we will be doing it until we die, because that's what we've experienced in the past, right? We clean it up and it just gets dirty again. But if you focus a short time of your life on the right effective way of decluttering and organizing, and on changing your mindset and learning strategies for long-term success, you're going to be amazed at what you will accomplish and how much it affects your life for the better. Have any of you read this book, The 12-Week Year? This is where this idea comes from. And let me ask you a question. How many of you have accomplished any of your New Year's resolutions for this year? So say yes or raise your hand if you have accomplished any of them. Now, how many of you can remember your New Year's resolutions for this year? I confess, okay, I'm seeing raised hands. That is awesome. I confess that I cannot remember mine. And I think that the problem is that a year is so long. So we either procrastinate and we think, you know what, I have plenty of time to do this. Or we look at how long it is and we think, I can't keep this up for a whole year. So we just give up. But if we commit to just 3 months, then all kinds of amazing things happen, because now there's an end in sight, and now there's motivation that comes with a deadline. So, what should your priority be? I want you to think about what is the most important thing in your life right now. Maybe it's your relationship with your husband or kids. Maybe it's getting your finances in order. Maybe up until this webinar today, you've been thinking that it should be getting physically fit or dealing with depression. But I want you to remember when we talked about creating your vision for your home. And when you look at all of these areas, physically, spiritually, mentally, all of them, you realize that the state of your home affects every single area of your life. It can literally make or break your efforts to accomplish any other goal you have in any of these other important areas. So doesn't it make sense to get your home in order first? I want you to think of it like this. Let's say you have a fish in a fish bowl, and you notice that he isn't looking too healthy. He's kind of lethargic, and you think he might be sick or depressed. So you think, well, I think what my fish needs is better fish food. so he can be healthy. So you go out and you buy the best organic fish food that costs like 4 times the amount of regular fish food, and you give it to your fish. But your fish doesn't improve. So you think, well, maybe I need to address the depression. So maybe if I play soothing music, it will help. So you play soothing music, but that doesn't really have the effect you're hoping for either. So then you think, well, maybe my fish just needs a more positive attitude. So you play the fish podcasts about positive thinking, but that doesn't help either. And finally, you think, hey, maybe if I clean the fish bowl, it will make a difference. So you clean the fish bowl, and suddenly your fish perks up. He's got more energy, he's eating better, he doesn't seem depressed anymore, and suddenly all of those other things you were trying are so much more effective. Can you guys see how it's the same thing with you in your home? Because you might be trying to be healthy and make progress in all these other areas of your life, but until you clean up your fish bowl, so to speak, you'll never be able to have the energy and clarity to make the kind of changes you want in all the other areas of your life. Does that make sense to you guys? So I'm going to urge you that whatever you think your priority is right now, to replace it with getting your home in order for just the next 3 months. And even if you don't get completely done in that time, the progress you make is going to make a huge difference. Will you guys commit to me to do that? I hope that you're all saying yes, at least in your minds, or that you're at least considering it. Okay, I'm seeing raised hands. Awesome. Here's what you can start doing today. You can discover your strengths and use them as you declutter and organize your home. Create a clear and compelling vision for why you want to have a clean and organized home. Find a mentor or coach who has been where you are, who understands your strengths and challenges and has the time to help you. And make a plan for how you will declutter and organize your home over the next 3 months. Okay. This is just the beginning. And honestly, I am dying to teach you guys exactly how to declutter and organize over the next 3 months, but we only have a limited amount of time on this webinar today. But here's the deal. I would love to make this easy for you to do all of this. What I would love is for you to have custom strategies for decluttering and organizing for your organizing type, whether you're a heroine, superstar, dreamer, or model. So think back to which type you are or think you are. And think about, what if you had specific strategies tailored to you? And what if I helped you craft a vision for your home and offered personal mentoring and support? What if I also gave you a customized 3-month plan according to your organizing type so that you did not have to figure out any of this for yourself? So don't worry about sitting down planning out the next 3 months, because I've already done it. And what if I took you through every area of your home and taught you exactly how to declutter and organize everything and keep it that way? Wouldn't that be awesome, you guys? Well, I have created a program that gives you all of that and more, and I'd love to tell you about it for the next few minutes. Would that be okay with you guys? So awesome. Thank you so much. All right, it is called the Home Organization Made Easy program, or HOME for short, as I explained before. That's why you're called Homegirls. And this program is going to make it so you don't fall into the valley of despair, and so you can use your natural homegirl talents and strategies, manage your time, and have guaranteed success. Doesn't that sound awesome? The first part of the course is determining which type of homegirl you are. So once again, there's that questionnaire in the course that will help you determine it perfectly, or help you know for sure which type you are. And then you're going to get your homegirl profile, and this is going to give you an overall view of your strengths and challenges and help you understand yourself better, especially as it comes to your organizing tendencies. And that is valued at $99. Next, you'll get all the strategies, tips, and techniques unique to your homegirl personality. So as we've discussed a lot in this webinar, what works for a superstar may not be motivating for a heroine, and vice versa. Now, the beauty of my program is that you get the tips and tricks for every homegirl type, so that even if you're not sure which type you are, you can experiment with all the various strategies and see what works best for you. And that is valued at $299. Now, the bulk of the program is what I call my action modules. And here is where the rubber hits the road. So you're going to go through your whole home in a specific order. And I have ordered these in a way that will give you the biggest, most direct, quick, long-lasting impact fast so that you can be motivated and keep going. So in the past, most of us have organized our homes differently. What we've commonly done is just gone from room to room, right? But the problem with this is that we get started in one room and then we leave the room because we're taking something where it belongs, and on the way we get distracted, and then we start something else, and then we forget what we were doing, and at the end there's just a bigger mess than we started with. That does not happen with my program, because we go category by category, so we stay focused. Now, in this program, I also give you videos with very specific instructions of how exactly to do everything. It is extremely detailed and thorough so that you will not be wondering how to do stuff. And this is valued at $999. Now, here are those customized 3-month plans I told you about. So I've created individual calendars for each type of homegirl. And no, I just did not just switch the pretty colors on the calendars. They are actually different with customized strategies and tasks for each of the homegirls that will maximize your strengths and your time management strategies. And those are valued at $199. And now lastly, I have created a private Facebook group just for homegirls. So this is where you get that incredibly important support and help from a mentor or coach. So luckily, I'm not famous, which means you get my personal help and attention. And in addition, this is a place where all of us can help one another. I know that you all have great ideas to share. You can talk about things that have worked, things that haven't worked. And I firmly believe that without this help and support, you will fall into the valley of despair and give up. Now, I'm not just making this up. There are scientific studies to back this up. For example, there was one study I remember of, there were these patients who had life-threatening illnesses, and they had to change or they would die. But shockingly, after 12 months, 90% of these patients had reverted back to their previous lifestyles, virtually guaranteeing their deaths. Isn't that crazy? You guys, it was a life or death situation, and they gave up on themselves. But there was one group of patients who did not give up on themselves. You want to know what was different about them? These people were involved in peer support groups. They discussed their progress and their challenges, and they encouraged one another. And that is amazing. So even if you're an introvert like me, like I'm one of those people who just always thinks, you know what, I can do it myself. I don't need any help. But I have discovered that that is absolutely not true. Even if you're an introvert, you still need other people in order to succeed. And that's exactly what this online group is. Plus, as your coach, I understand your strengths based on what type of homegirl you are, and I can help you leverage those so you'll be successful. Now, if you're saying, you know what, I don't like Facebook, I'm not on Facebook, don't worry. I will always give you support through email. You can just email me personally, and I will help you that way. I'm going to support you no matter what. Now, this private homegirl Facebook group is valued at $499. So when you add everything together, the organizing profile, the homegirl strategies, action modules, the 3-month plans, and the Facebook group, the total value comes to $2,095. Now, don't worry, because I'm not going to charge you that much. But even if all this program did was give you more time to spend with your family because you weren't wasting time looking for things, wouldn't it be worth it? Even if it helped you gain that control that one of you was talking about before in the chat, even if it helped you to not feel embarrassed when people were coming over to your home, even if it helped you to feel more peace, less frustration, clarity of thought, wouldn't it be worth it? But instead of paying $2,095, you can get started today for only $99. And for those of you live on this webinar today, you are super lucky because I am going to offer you a really special deal, and I am going to knock $100 off of this. And so you can get started for only 5 payments of $99 or make a one-time payment of $397. Now, in the chat right now, you should see the link where you can go and purchase the program. So if you want to, go ahead and just click on that right now. It will open up a new tab and you'll still be able to hear me talking, so don't worry, you won't be locked out of the webinar or anything. But go ahead and just click on that link, and when you do, you'll see a page that looks like this. And once you get to that page, all you do is click on that green Enroll in Course button. And then you'll be taken here where you can choose which payment option you like. And once you do that, click on the Enroll in Course button again. And you'll be taken here where you can enter your credit card information. And after that, you are in, you are an official homegirl, and you are ready to go. Very soon after your purchase is complete, you'll receive an email from Teachable with your login information. Teachable is the platform where I host my course. And then very soon after that, you should get an email from me. It's a welcome email. It will look like this, and it will have your quick start guide in it. So in there is going to be your link to take your homegirl assessment, the link to request to join the Facebook group, and other important information. So if you don't see this, please check your spam or promotions folder. And if it ended up there, please drag it into your main inbox, because I'm going to be sending you several emails and you want to make sure that you don't miss those. All right, let me show you some of the amazing results people have gotten with the Home Organization Made Easy program. So first we have Blanche here on the left. You can see she says, papers, papers everywhere, help. And then after going through the program, she organized hers and her husband's papers just into 2 separate folders, and that was it. She cleaned up that whole mess. That's awesome. Now, these are Emily's clothes before and after. So you can see on the left, this is what my drawers actually looked like before I learned all the things I'm going to teach you. Just clothes stacked in there randomly, kind of a mess. And then on the right, you can see that everything has been folded in a way so that she can tell exactly at a glance what is in her drawers without hunting and digging through things. Or this, we've got Christy, who on the left is showing us a picture of everything that was in this office area. So she took that all off, laid it on the floor, and then when she got done decluttering and organizing, the picture on the right there is the end result. Isn't that amazing? Don't you just love looking at that and seeing all the clean, organized, intentional spaces? Now, at this point, you have 3 choices. So option number 1 is the complicated, confusing way. This is probably what you've been doing already. Wasting time on Pinterest or the internet searching for articles and books about decluttering and organizing, trying to combine all the techniques you've learned, but then getting overwhelmed and confused with all the conflicting advice. So you already know that this causes overwhelm and confusion and an eventual trip to the valley of despair. So who wants to avoid the valley of despair? Everybody, right? So option number 2 is the expensive rebound way. So you can hire a professional organizer, spend thousands of dollars for them to organize your whole home, enjoy that clean home for 2 weeks, and then continue with the current habits that caused the mess in the first place. Now, the problem with this is that there's no change in mindset and no sustainable plan, and your home just goes back to the way it was. Studies have shown that 95% of the time when people hire professional organizers, their house just reverts to the way that it was. Plus, I don't know, have you guys ever priced out a professional organizer? Because a KonMari certified organizer costs $100 an hour and requires a 5-hour minimum. So you're out $500, which is more than the price of this program for less than a full day's worth of organizing help. So who wants to save money instead and get long-term results? Hopefully everybody is saying yes to that. All right, so you have another choice, and it's investing in the Home Organization Made Easy program today and becoming a home girl. And when you do things this way, you have a tried and true organizing method that can be accessed all in one place. You follow a simple step-by-step sustainable plan that guarantees spectacular results. Use your newly discovered gifts and talents as a homegirl to overcome obstacles and create success, and get support from an organizing expert, as well as other people just like you who are enthusiastically organizing their homes. So wouldn't you guys rather have this? Wouldn't you love to feel motivated, supported, and successful? Wouldn't you love to be able to change the whole feeling of your home, where you're not frantically looking things and rushing out the door and living a life of stress? So it really comes down to this, you guys. So you have the option of spending hours cleaning and organizing and wasting money on storage containers you don't need, or a professional organizer that would cost $1,000. Or you can have a much less expensive step-by-step program that teaches you the easy strategies and shifts your mindset so that long-term success is guaranteed. It's the whole give a man a fish and he eats for a day, feed a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. Now, doesn't that sound like the right choice? If you are ready to make that choice, go ahead and click on the link in the chat right now. And once again, you can get started today for my special deal only on this webinar of $100 off. So you can do the $99 plan or make a one-time payment of $397. If you are on the replay and you don't see the link in the chat, just go ahead and type in the link you see at the bottom of your screen and another tab in your browser. So that's easyhome.teachable.com/courses/home. Now, when I was a kid, we had a big backyard and it was filled with dandelions, and my dad really hated the dandelions and was super annoyed by them. So one day he had us go out and pick all the dandelions, and we probably spent hours doing it, toiling in the hot sun, but our efforts paid off because when we finished, there were no dandelions in sight. And our parents were so happy that they paid us each a quarter and took us out for ice cream. And we were like, money and ice cream? This is awesome. So we went to bed happy with all the hard work we'd done. And the next morning we woke up and looked out the window and saw this. All the dandelions were back because we'd wasted all of our time picking flowers when we should have been pulling out the roots. There were just 1,000 other flowers waiting to bloom. And so this is just like when you try to declutter and organize your home by following a bunch of tips and tricks you find on the internet. You might get a nice green grassy field for a day, or you can hire a professional organizer and spend a ton of money, but pretty soon all that clutter is back and it's like all your hard work was for nothing. Now, we already know, you guys, that this way does not work. You have to have a comprehensive plan to pull out those roots for good. And when I say that, what I mean is you need a whole new mindset regarding your possessions, and you need long-term strategies that are going to make a permanent difference. And you need to know your homegirl personality so you can use your natural gifts and talents for guaranteed success. So this is Superstar Emily. We saw her close a little bit earlier, and she said, I've read other organizing books and love the principles, but all the information was so overwhelming. This program is the perfect solution. It's clear, simple, step-by-step with every resource you need to be successful and stress-free. Each module I finished has stayed perfectly organized with less effort than ever before for months and months with no end in sight. And this is Mary, who's a heroine, and she says, this is a guest bedroom that was completely covered, floor, bed, dresser tops, every surface. Kept the door closed for the last year and has been unable to be used for 2.5 years. Just finished yesterday. Wow, what a relief. A big black cloud has been lifted. Thank you for your inspiration. Now on to the next project. So you can see from the number of exclamation marks how excited Mary was at what she was able to accomplish with this program. Now, I know some of you might still be on the fence and you might be thinking, well, this all sounds awesome, but what if it doesn't work for me? What I really think I hear you saying is, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, have you seen my house? If that's what you're thinking, here's the deal. I am offering you a 90-day guarantee just to try it out and see if it works. That is the full 3 months I asked you to commit to earlier. Now, most programs just offer you 14 days or maybe 30 days, but I'm offering you 90. And in order to get your money back, I'm not even requiring you to finish the whole program. You only have to get halfway through. And if at that point you decide it wasn't worth the investment, just email me and I'll give you your money back. But I do need to tell you up front that I am going to need to see some proof that you actually did the work with some before and after pictures, because I'm sure you'll agree that it's not fair to me or you if you just buy the program, do nothing, and then ask for your money back. You owe it to yourself to honor the commitment you made, and you can totally do this because I do not let people fail. So what will you create with this program? The bottom line is we do everything we do in life because we want to feel a particular way. We watch certain shows because we want to feel something, right? We eat certain foods because we want to feel something. We choose to interact with certain people because we want to feel a particular way with them, right? So what is the feeling you want in your home? Just tell me in the chat. If you could just choose one word to describe the feeling you want in your home, what would it be? Would it be peace, control, confidence, health? So if this program could help you get that feeling in your home, isn't it worth it to just give it a try? So what will you create with this program? Whatever you want. That feeling you just described, that is what you will create in your home. So once again, here's everything you're getting with the Home Organization Made Easy program, the Homegirl Organizing Profile, the Homegirl Strategies, the action modules, customized 3-month plans, the private Homegirl Facebook group, and honestly, there are actually a bunch of other surprise bonuses inside the program that I haven't even told you guys about. I really wanted to go above and beyond for you. So those are waiting for you there in the program as well. And you can get it all for just $99 today or a one-time payment of $397. So once again, that link should be in the chat. You may need to scroll up to see it, or let me see if I can have my husband pop it in there again for you. And if you don't see it there on the chat, go ahead and type in easyhome.teachable.com/courses/home, and that will take you right to the page where you can go ahead and order it. All right, it's just been added to the chat there again for you to click on there easily. All right, we're going to be having a Q&A here. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type those into the chat, or you can email me at melissa@beautifullifeandhome. Just understand that any questions that are emailed, I'm going to have to wait until after the webinar to answer those. So if you want, go ahead and you can write down my email address in case you think of anything else afterwards, or if your question doesn't get answered in the Q&A. So while you're typing your questions in the chat, just let me share some more amazing results people have gotten when they implement the strategies in this program. So here's Sandy, and she says, happy to share that 9 large laundry bins of clothes, household and personal things were recycled, donated, or tossed. I plan to get at least 3 more done and also sell 4 bins of nice unused goods. One benefit of this program is that you can actually make money doing it. People have found missing rebate checks. People have sold clothes and other things they no longer need. You can sell your things on eBay or in garage sales. You could literally make all your money back from this program just by selling things that are already in your home. Now here is Jessie, who had 134 pairs of shoes. And after she went through my program, she got rid of almost half of them, which still leaves a lot, she admits, but they all have a place. Her closet floor is clean, and she can find the perfect shoe anytime she wants. Now this is a picture of my desk, and all of my life, my desk looked like that picture on the left. Even when I was teaching school. I taught elementary school for 2 years, and you would think as a professional I would do a better job, but honestly, my desk was a disaster, like all year long. And even when I cleaned it up, within a week, it was back to looking just like that. But when I discovered what I'm going to teach you in my Home Organization Made Easy program, I cleaned off my desk, and it has stayed clean for 3 years. It has never gone back to what you see in the before picture, and that is the power of this program. Now you might be thinking, why can't I just buy this later? And I see some of you in the chat here saying that you're hoping that you could be able to buy this later. Well, you can buy it later, but here's the deal. Every time I do this webinar, the pricing and the bonuses have been different. So if you want to grab the program before the price goes up, you need to get it now. Remember that I am offering the $100 off for those who are just on the webinar live. And once we go off the webinar, the price is going back up that $100. And so what you need to do is consider whether or not you could put it on a credit card and if that would be okay for you. I have that payment plan for you so you don't have to pay it all up front. Now, some of you might not like feeling pressured into making quick decisions. So especially those of you who are dreamers, you might be feeling like, you know what, I need to take more time and research this. And I understand that because my husband is a dreamer. And when we were dating, I actually almost dumped him because it took him 2 hours to decide on a leather jacket to buy. I was with him at the store and I was going out of my mind. I was like, just make a decision, man. And he makes spreadsheets for everything so he can gather all the data before making a decision. But the funny thing is, when it came to marrying me, he asked me after only a month of dating. He went with his gut feeling instead of making spreadsheets and waiting and thinking forever. So I just want to encourage you to trust your gut feeling here. This is not marriage, and you do have a 90-day money-back guarantee. So just go ahead and trust yourself that investing in this program now, while you can save $100, is the right thing to do. All right, what if you're thinking, I don't have time? I feel like we covered this in depth earlier in the webinar, but you don't need to worry about that, because even though I've encouraged you to start right away and dedicate the next 3 months to this, I understand that some of you can't. But you still have lifetime access to the program, so you can go at your own pace. And also, all you have to do in general is spend 15 minutes a day to make progress and see big changes. Now, what if you're thinking, you know what, Melissa, I love all of this, but I have tried getting my house in order before and it didn't work. And the reason it didn't work is because you didn't have the whole recipe and all the ingredients. So let me just give you a quick illustration here. So on the left is what you've tried before, and on the right is what you'll create with the home program. So the problem is, before you didn't have all the ingredients and you had incomplete instructions. But with the Home Organization Made Easy program, you're getting all the ingredients and all the instructions, including the real flowers and the fancy chocolate roses on top. Now, I know that so many of us have fallen into the "it's never going to work" trap. I know that I have, because that's what we've experienced in the past, right? But what I want you to do is look at the frustrations you've experienced in the past as a blessing, because it brought you here today. And if it weren't for all those struggles, you wouldn't have kept searching, and you wouldn't have found this opportunity that I'm giving you with the Home Organization Made Easy program. And I want you to realize that you have a choice of what to focus on, because even if nothing you've tried has worked before, you can get your house in order. Whenever I personally get caught up in negative thinking, I like to think about Thomas Edison. We all know this story that when he went to invent the light bulb, it never worked for him either. It actually didn't work for over 1,000 times until one day it did work. So trust that with the home program, your efforts finally will work. And the good news is you don't have to try 1,000 things before you find the one that works. It's right here already for you. And you get 3 whole months, not just the standard 2 weeks or 30 days to prove it, or your money back. All right, it is your time, homegirl, for you to do what you're meant to do. It's time to take charge and make those decisions that are truly going to change your life. You have shown up here today. You're excited about this opportunity, and I want you to know that getting your home in order will affect every other area of your life in amazing ways. But you don't just need some theory that you read in a book. What you need is a proven step-by-step, easy-to-follow plan with no complicated 14-step flowcharts or lengthy decision-making processes, right? You need an easy program tailored to you that gets you fast, sustainable results. And this does not need to take you years of painful trial and error. Don't do that. Skip all that confusion and let me show you exactly what to do. Now, as I mentioned before, I am nobody special. I'm not famous. I don't have a show on HGTV or Netflix. But what I do have is a one-of-a-kind, nothing else like it in the world program that works. Once again, here is everything that you're getting with the program. Don't forget about the fast action bonus of getting $100 off while I'm still on the webinar. So make sure that you take action now, because we are just about to get off and you want to make sure that you have time to complete your order before time runs out. So here again is the link for you if you are on the replay, easyhome.teachable.com/courses/home. Now I want to address the money issue, because I know that a lot of you are thinking $397 is a lot of money. I don't know if I can afford that. Well, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and he talks about this mindset of I can't afford that. And he says that instead of saying I can't afford that, ask yourself, how can I afford that? And when you do that, your mind switches and it starts thinking of ways that you can come up with the money to afford this program. And I want to point out that money is a renewable resource. It always comes back. The $397 that you spend today, or the $99 that you invest today, that money will come back to you. But your life is not renewable. Time goes away and it never comes back. So whether you buy this or not, it's not going to change my life. I'm not going to go buy a bigger house or a nice car. In fact, I drive a 12-year-old minivan that my children named Frank, and I plan on driving it until it dies. And I also donate 10% of any income I make from this to Operation Underground Railroad, which is dedicated to rescuing children from child trafficking. And that is why I do this. I'm doing this to change those lives, and I'm doing this to change your life. So the question is, could you afford to pay just over $1 a day to change your life forever? That's all this is. $397 is just over $1 a day for a year. Could you afford to do that? Because you're going to spend that money anyways over the course of the next year. And no matter what you do spend it on, that money will come back to you, but time never will. So it's your choice whether to invest that money in yourself and have a life that looks completely different just 3 months from now, or whether you want to hold on to that money and have a life that looks exactly the same 3 months or a year from now. If you want to change your life, it starts with your home, and it starts right now. I want to thank all of you for being with me here today. Right now is your very last chance to get that $100 off, because I am saying goodbye and ending the webinar. Thank you so much, everybody who participated in the chat. I love seeing your comments. I love learning about your homegirl types. That was so much fun. And I just would love for you guys to take a chance. Just go ahead and do it. Click the link in the chat. You will not regret it. As I said, there's a money back guarantee. There's no way you can lose with this. So go ahead and do it, and I will see you inside the course. Have a wonderful day.